What is going on, everybody? Colin here with Techout, and today we're going to be taking a look at iOS 26.4 Beta 1. It is currently downloading and installing on my iPhone 17 Pro Max right here. I started the download early because this actually came in at 20, like just over 20 gigabytes on my iPhone 17 Pro Max, and on my iPhone Air it comes in at about 18. I think it was like 18.9. So I did get the download started. Hey Preston, how's it going? Long time no see. I haven't seen you on Discord in a while. I think you might have deleted your account or something. So if you got a new account, let me know, or follow me in the Techout Discord. But yep, so we're just waiting on this to install. I've been looking around, kind of checking out to see what is new in 26.4, and I don't think we're getting any of the major Siri features. I think there's a couple Apple Intelligence, fixes and stuff like that, or updates, but I don't think we're getting the full, Apple Intelligence Siri kind of upgrade that we were expecting in iOS 26.4. I think that has been delayed, and the iPhone, as you can see, is updating right now. So I'm going to see if we have any release notes out, just so we have something to go on. Sometimes Apple does not release them. Let's see. Well, if you ever get another one, Preston, just follow me there. And I was not, let's see, we do have release notes, so I'll pop those up on the screen here in a second. I was not expecting iOS 26.4 to be released today, because if you're not from the US, today is actually President's Day. It's a federal holiday, and normally we don't see Apple releasing betas on holidays. So I was not expecting to get this today, and I woke up and saw tweets, and I thought they were a post on X, and I thought they were a joke, and I went ahead and checked for an update, and lo and behold, we have an update. That's why I'm kind of late on this video, because I wasn't really expecting anything for this to come out. So like I said, we do have release notes, so I'll pop those up on the screen here. And a lot of these things are kind of, back end stuff. One big thing is RCS end-to-end encryption is now available for testing in this beta. This feature is not shipping in this release and will be available to customers in a future software update. End-to-end encryption is in beta and is not available for all devices or carriers. Conversations labeled as encrypted are encrypted end-to-end, so messages can't be read while sent between devices. This is only testable between Apple devices and not between other platforms. So RCS messages between Android and iOS will not be end-to-end encrypted. And then, like it says here, this is not a this is not an update that will be shipping in iOS 26.4. They're just starting the testing in iOS 26.4. So when iOS 26.4 is released to the public, this will not be a part of it. We have some fixes for network and stuff like that. This is actually the entirety of the release notes right here. And you can see we do not have anything in here for Siri or Apple Intelligence or anything like that noted. So that's, it's a very short list of stuff for a very big update. Now I know 26.4 beta 1, it is installing the full, the entirety of the update, or the entirety of the OS. So it's not just an update download. So it is downloading the entire version of iOS, which is a part of why it's so large. But still, it is a fairly large update either way. It looks like I'm just going to show Mac rumors real quick here too, because they post little tidbits that Apple doesn't share. We do have an Apple public beta firmware for AirPods Pro 2, AirPods Pro 3, and AirPods 4. So if you have AirPods and you run betas on your AirPods, these are available. They don't say what is new, and Apple doesn't do release notes for AirPods. 26.4 also enables stolen device protection by default on all devices, or on all iPhones rather. And then here we have another section here that Apple begins testing for end-to-end encryption. And then yes, somebody said that Apple Music slight revamp, and then they did a podcast which is getting video episodes in iOS 26.4. So video podcast on iOS 26.4. New Siri, I don't think, based on what I've been seeing online, we don't have anything new for Siri. Somebody did say there was a small update to Apple Intelligence. It was re-downloading some assets or some, Apple Intelligence software, but I don't think it is related to Siri. I think Siri is still the same, because we did get a rumored delay in, it's been delayed either to iOS 26.5 or possibly to iOS 27. So depending on, what the delay is and how that goes, Apple may just hold off and release it in iOS 27 with the beta there. So we might have to wait a couple months for WWDC in the beta, there to see that. I was really excited for new Siri, especially once they said it was going to be built using Google Gemini models and stuff like that. I was quite excited to see what that would bring, because I do have a Galaxy S25 Ultra, I have a Galaxy Z Flip 7, and I have I tested a Google Pixel Pro Fold for a few days, as you guys saw on the channel if you watched any of those videos. So I was using Gemini quite often, and I really like the live chat that Gemini has. I think if Siri takes advantage of some of those models and functionality and stuff like that and builds off of that, I think that would be really cool for how Siri will work. Now, that being said, it's not going to be just straight up Google Gemini on the iPhone. Apple is just using their models to build, Siri 2.0. So unfortunately that did get delayed. I know it didn't really get delayed because Apple never announced that it was coming in 26.4. It was kind of just rumored to be coming in 26.4. Everybody was really hopeful that would be the big update for 26.4. But again, unfortunately it didn't happen. It's not really a 20 gigabyte update because this is beta 1. It's just installing the entire OS again. So if this were like a beta 2, it wouldn't be 20 gigs. It's beta 1 always does a full OS reinstall. So you can't really determine the size of the actual update just based on the size. Now, Apple did introduce, I'll show this when the phone gets started up here. Apple did introduce a new feature for the wallpapers that should save us some space here if you have a lower capacity iPhone or you're running low on space. The wallpaper packs are not downloaded by default. They're packs you can download now, and maybe that will lay kind of the future groundwork for maybe being able to download wallpaper packs, like maybe third party, or maybe Apple will introduce more now that they're not pre-loaded on the phone. We already know that new Siri is not in this update. I've already seen it's already been out for about an hour and a half, and new Siri is not in this update. What are the new features? That's what we're talking about now. I'm literally talking about the new features as you're continuously asking that. All right, so here it goes, or here it is. We just started up. Got the 17 Pro Max here. That's the device I installed it on first. I will be installing it on my iPhone Air and all my other devices as always. We do get a couple splash screens here right off the start. It's asking if you want to continue the software updates automatically. I always keep it on download only. That way I can choose when they actually install. Not really for update, reliability purposes, but more so I can make these videos. And we saw we had a little slide over there to the screen. Let's hop into Apple Intelligence first because I want to catch this and see if it's doing anything differently. And it does not appear. It does not appear to be. It does say support for Apple Intelligence is downloading. Some Apple Intelligence features may be unavailable until the download is complete. Again, this doesn't really have anything to do with new Siri. This is just a normal update that the Apple Intelligence, kind of stuff does. Now, it does say ChatGPT is unavailable right now because Apple Intelligence assets need to finish downloading. So not too sure if we're getting anything different with ChatGPT there. Obviously, we're not using ChatGPT for the new Siri. We are using Google models and stuff like that. Somebody said there's a new status bar right here for the download. I don't see that. It just says it's downloading stuff. It doesn't have a percentage or a status bar or anything like that. If we go into the about, the build number here, right here we have, it does not show, it's not showing the build number right there for some reason. Usually it does. Let me pop back into the release notes and see if it's on there. I don't see a build number listed for some reason. Not even on the release notes. Yeah, there's no build number. Usually it's up here with the iOS 26.4 thing. Let me get my iPhone Air right here to my pocket. Let me pull up I didn't install 26.4 on here yet, so it's just on the software update screen. And yeah, there's no build number listed anywhere on there, just iOS 26.4 beta 1. You can see it's 18.64 gigabytes on the iPhone Air for the full download. So that's kind of weird. But yeah, let me go back to the Apple Intelligence stuff. Phone it's not hot, but it is noticeably not room temperature. Not like overheating or warm or anything like that. It's just, you can tell it's doing something in the background. Apple Intelligence Siri, yeah, so it just says support for Apple Intelligence is downloading. It does not say what or how much or anything like that. The new Apple Music. This is the new Apple Music app, and we do have a new splash screen here. So concerts near you, find shows in your area and tour dates for artists you love right in Apple Music. So that's pretty cool. New look for albums and playlist. So we'll continue here and sure, we'll turn that on. So here's, like some albums or playlist. I listen to country, as you guys can tell. So that's kind of what that looks like. So pretty cool. I like the Apple Music app. It's very, very well designed, in my opinion. I use Apple Music all the time. I used to have Sirius XM in my car, and and I stopped paying for that and just pay for Apple Music now because I can listen to whatever. Does the status or does the dock look different to you guys? Let me change my background on my iPhone Air here to the weather, because that's what this background is. It's just a live weather thing. I guess not. It looked a little bit different, kind of, but I think it's just the way the clouds are. I'm not sure why the weather's showing different on my iPhone Air than it is on my Pro Max, but whatever. It is indeed the same. So let's check out actually, we can probably do this from settings. Let's check out the home screen and wallpapers. Click on wallpaper down here. So add new wallpaper. So this looks okay. So here we go. So as you can see, we have the weather pack. I'm guessing probably because I already have these preset. You can see they have a check mark. They're downloaded. And then if you hit the check mark right here, you can remove from gallery. And then if you scroll down here, they have the packs. So I don't have these pre-installed. These are pre-installed because they're like the iPhone, the iOS 26 ones and the iPhone 17 Pro Max ones. But like the collections, the colors, the Pride ones, the Unity ones, Kaleidoscope, Emoji, you can tap those to install those, and they will actually download. So they're not pre-stored on the device anymore. As you can see, and they're actually, it's taking a second here to download all of them. And then if you're not using any of those, you can just remove from gallery. Are you sure you'd like to remove this wallpaper from the wallpaper gallery? Remove, and it just goes right back down there. You can download it again if you choose to use it. So that's pretty cool. Like I said, I'm hoping that kind of maybe lays some future framework for maybe You know, it would be really cool to see a third-party kind of wallpaper store, you know, kind of thing like the App Store for people to introduce third-party wallpaper packs. That would be pretty cool for, you know, some customizations and stuff like that. Maybe some different like app icon themes. I don't think we'll get app icon themes. I don't think Apple will do that. But maybe, you know, some third-party wallpapers or just more wallpapers from Apple in general, since they're not having to pre-install them on the iPhone by default. So that would be pretty cool. We do have the end-to-end encryption in messages now. Again, that is a test feature right now in end-to-end encryption for RCS. It only works between Apple devices right now, so RCS between iPhone and Android will not be end-to-end encrypted. It's only supported on a select few carriers right now, and it's not something that's coming in iOS 26 beta 4. So I think some of the new emojis, I heard there was a trombone. That does not appear to be in here. If there's some new emojis that we're supposed to get, you guys know, let me know, and I can do a quick search for them on the keyboard and see if they're in here yet. But I don't see any of the new listed emojis in here just quite yet. So we might be waiting on that for beta 2 or something like that down the line. But again, let me know. Let me check here and see if we get anything on the release notes. Yeah, it's expected to include new emoji characters such as trombone, treasure chest, orca, landslide, and Bigfoot. I don't know if, I think that's just the feet one that's been there. I don't think that's Bigfoot. Treasure chest. Nope. So no results for treasure chest either. We just get the little pirate flag again. That's an existing one. Landslide. And no results. So doesn't look like the new emojis are in here quite yet. I'm not too sure why or when those are coming, but don't see those in here. No new Siri. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good, thanks.
Nope. Same old, same old, same old. And are you the new Siri?
I'm Siri, here to help.
When's the new Siri coming out?
Apple Intelligence support for ChatGPT is still downloading. Please try again later.
Yeah, it still has ChatGPT integration, which which we know is not the new Siri 2.0. They're using Google models for that. So kind of disappointing. Yep, I already went over. I just showed the wallpaper stuff. If you scroll back like probably 2 or 3 minutes, you'll see that. The search bar in the App Store is now moved back to the top. Up here. I don't remember where it was before. I never really. Some of these like small changes you just never really pay attention to. I'm glad glad I didn't install it on my Pro Max here. Okay, yeah, I see what you're talking about. So the button is still down here on the bottom. In the bar, it's actually not separate anymore, so you can see the difference here. The search button is a little bubble over here by itself, and then you have the you know, the bar. If you actually scroll it, you can get your liquid glass in there, which you can still do here. Or you can toggle through this. But when you hit search, it actually pulls up on the top. Now, I actually prefer the bottom search bar because you don't have to, you know, if you go to search, when you hit search, you just hit right down here and your fingers are already right here, you know, at keyboard level. So I actually prefer it to be down on the bottom because you hit search down here. Now you have to move your fingers way up there and then reposition down to the bottom again to start typing. So I actually do like the search bar being on the bottom. You know, same thing in like Safari with the taskbar or with the URL, the address bar. I like that being on the bottom. You tap right there, your keyboard pops right out, you type it in, and everything is right there. Siri could come out in beta 2 or 3. Probably not. It looks like it's probably not going to be whatever delay they ran into. They don't have time to start testing it in time for iOS 26.4 for the public release. The account tab? Are you talking about like the iCloud account tab in settings? Double tap the search icon in the App Store. Okay. So yeah, so if you tap it again, it does pull up the keyboard. So that's pretty cool. Live translation, new language support. I did not see anything about any new languages in live translation. I think that might be part of the AirPods, though. So maybe on the beta there. But I have not installed the AirPods beta, and Apple doesn't really do release notes or tell you what is new in what's new in the AirPod updates. So it's kind of hard to got to wait to see on those. Models downloaded. There's no new models. It's just downloading the regular ChatGPT stuff. But there's no new models or anything like that in relation to the in relation to the new Siri. Oh yeah, you're right. It does not have the newer Siri animation. I think that is part of the Apple Intelligence. So whenever Apple Intelligence is not activated, it defaults to the old one. Like if you were to turn off Apple Intelligence on a phone that it was already downloaded on, it would still use the old one. So we just have to wait for that to finish downloading and all that to be activated again. But there's no new Siri, so it's still using everything that we had before. There's now a feedback icon when talking to Siri. How's the weather?
It's currently cloudy and 47 degrees.
I don't see that on this one, so we'll check for that. If this finishes downloading before the stream ends, I'll check it on this one as well. I did not see it on the other one with the, before it's done downloading. Siri 2.0, nope, there is no Siri 2.0. Daniel, what is in the new beta? There's no Siri 2.0 in the new beta. This one right here, this is 26.4 beta 1, and this is just iOS 26.3 on the iPhone Air right here. But 26.4, there is no new Siri. It has been pushed off to oh yeah, I didn't see it in this one. It's not, like I said, it's not done downloading yet, so there's nothing right here. But once it finishes downloading the Apple Intelligence stuff, I'll check and see if I see it. Yes, there is updates to the App Store. I just showed that. The bottom bar, the search bar is now moved to the top. The bar on the bottom is pretty much the same, except for search is now part of the bottom. It's not like a separate bubble like it is on iOS 26.3. For as far as the Siri downloading, this is just doing its normal after iOS update, Apple Intelligence download. It's nothing to do with Siri 2.0, and there's not really any changes or anything like that will be noticeable. It's just updating the stuff for ChatGPT in the background. But that's not, ChatGPT is the old Siri, I guess, Siri 1.5, I guess, because Siri 2.0 is going to be using Google's models and Google Gemini stuff. It usually does this where it will say support for Apple Intelligence is downloading. It usually does that after large updates. And again, going from 26.3 public release to 26.4 beta 1. Every time you go to a beta 1, it's a full OS install, so a lot of this stuff gets re-downloaded. Yes, wallpaper section. There's a new. You can now download different packs. They're not pre-installed on the phone. The only ones that are pre-installed on the phone, I'm using these two right here. I have these set So you can see the check mark right here. If I hit that, I can remove it from the gallery. And then all the other ones I'm not using, like Emoji, Kaleidoscope, Unity, Pride, I can download those now. They're not pre-installed on the iPhone, so that saves you a little bit of space. And then iOS 26 and the iPhone 17 Pro Max are the only two, like the device iOS ones and the device ones are the only ones that are pre-installed. So you'll get the iPhone Air ones on the iPhone Air, iPhone 17 Pro Max on the iPhone 17 Pro Max, and stuff like that. It usually shows it in the Apple Intelligence section. It's just not showing, but let's see. We'll go to general iPhone storage. So here's everything right here. iOS is using 14.24 gigabytes and Apple Intelligence is using 8.97. And we'll compare that to the iPhone Air. Now, when I do use these phones separately, but I had this set up and I did restore this phone from the backup of this phone. So they are pretty much, they're not mirrors of each other because I use them at different times. So they have obviously changed over time. But like I said, they were mirrors of each other when they were set up. So the storage amounts should be fairly close, other than a few apps here and there. And as you can see, Apple Intelligence on this one is 6.62 gigabytes and iOS is 13.77. Now the size of iOS will vary device to device. Like I said, this one, the download was about 20 gigabytes, whereas the download on this one is about 18. So there's already some differences right off the bat there. So it just depends. I think it really depends on how much you use Apple Intelligence and stuff like that, on what gets downloaded. So that might be why it's a little bit larger on this one. Like I said, we're not getting any new Apple Intelligence features. As much as you guys want to think that there's new Apple Intelligence features in iOS 26.4, Apple's already said that they're not coming in 26.4. So even though this is a little bit bigger, there's nothing that you guys are going to see that's changed. It's not happening. 8.97 gigabytes. I'm not really paying attention. I don't remember if that went up or not, but it is still downloading whatever in the background. Like I said, it's just updating everything because beta 1, it does a full reinstall of everything. So you just have to wait for that stuff to download again. Anybody asking what are the new features? That is what we have been talking about this entire time. So if you just joined in and you want to know what the new features are, go back to the beginning of the stream and watch it from the beginning. Not going to do the beta. 26.3 is good. Yeah, well, I mean, we'll have to see how 26.4 is. Again, it's a beta 1, so we'll have to test out the battery life. That'll be more noticeable on my iPhone Air once I install it on there rather than the iPhone 17 Pro Max because it's got such good battery life to begin with. Apple has confirmed to like publications like Mac Rumors and big publications like that there was the 26.4 is not getting new Siri, that it's not delayed because they never announced a release date, but they said it's not coming in this update. The iPhone Air still has 26.3 on there. I was just using it for comparison. Yes, I checked out the Apple Music changes already. That was one of the first ones I checked out. So if you go back to the beginning of the stream, I'll show that there. AI playlist generator. I don't remember seeing any AI playlist generator. Yeah, I don't see anything for generating playlist. I just see like the regular create new playlist. Here's the, I don't even have any playlists, but here's the playlist on here. And if you hit the plus button up here, I would think that would be where it is. Hit create just in case it's in there. Yeah, no, it just shows the regular, you can add music to a playlist, but I don't see anything AI related. And it may need to finish downloading Apple Intelligence stuff for that to show up. I'm not too sure. Um, any changes to the smoothness? It seems pretty smooth. It didn't have any lag when it started up. Are links allowed? Yeah, I think it'll let you post links. If somebody posts a link, I'll check it first, and if it needs to be approved, then I'll approve it if it's okay. This my camera only does 30 frames a second, whereas obviously the iPhone is 120 hertz. So you can't really gauge the smoothness of the actual phone off the video. I always like to say that. So so yeah, I always like to say that the smoothness you guys see on video is not the actual smoothness of the phone, because it's less than half the actual frame rate of the iPhone on camera. Settings you should disable in iOS 26.4. There's really no settings changes in iOS 26.4 that you need to like go in and change. Stolen device protection is enabled by default. So if you guys want, I mean, I would leave that on. I don't see a reason to disable that. It's not like that's more of a in your benefit than anything else. Siri 2.0, there is no Siri 2.0 in this beta. Siri 2.0 will not be coming until likely iOS 26.5 or possibly iOS 2027. So it is not going to be, unfortunately, not going to be happening this go around. I'm going to run a little poll here. See how many people are installing iOS 26.1 beta 4. So there should be a poll popping up here in your comments section if anybody wants to take advantage of that. It is not Siri 2.0 downloading for Apple Intelligence. It's just re-downloading the regular Apple Intelligence models that we've had to begin with. Siri 2.0 is not happening. I didn't say anything about Siri 2.0 in the other parts of the stream because there is no Siri 2.0. I'm going to even put that in the title. All right, so there. I put no Siri 2.0 confirmed in the title, just for everybody that is wondering. Waiting for the public beta? Yeah, usually on beta 1 that'll take a couple days. So I expect probably by Wednesday we might see that. I was, like I said at the beginning of the stream, I was not expecting whatsoever to get a beta today because it's President's Day here in the U.S. Can I check the modem firmware? Yes, I can. Let me see. Modem firmware is one. I'm not going to show this because it's got all my iPhone's identifying information, but 1.54.01. And then the iPhone Air is on 26.3 still. Okay, the modem firmware on the the modem firmware on the iPhone Air is going to be completely different because it's got the Apple C1X chip, so entirely different modem. So that's why the firmware is totally different. Are there any updates to Liquid Glass? I do not see any updates to Liquid Glass. If we go in here to display and brightness in the Liquid Glass section, it is still the same. I didn't even realize I had that on tinted. Yeah, you still get the same two options. I wish we would get the slider, like maybe when you put it on clear, there was a slider to set exactly how clear you wanted it to be. Because, like I said, after beta 1 for iOS 26, we lost a lot of the we lost a lot of the Liquid Glass. Recheck the press releases. It does say Siri overhaul is delayed. It says it will be released in phases, but I'm still not convinced this lengthy re-download of Siri is normal. It is normal. It's not re-downloading. It's just re-downloading the ChatGPT stuff and all that kind of stuff. It's done this in the past. If you go back and watch all my other install streams, there's a few times where it has taken substantially longer to download these models. This update's been out for like 2 hours now, and there's people that have already gotten this stuff updated, and they have confirmed that there's no Siri 2.0. So I'm not just guessing based on the fact that it's downloaded and still. Is there a way to get rid of the liquid glass white borders on the app icons? There's not a setting for that. It really, I mean, you can make it less noticeable depending on your background or your app icon color. I find that if you set it to like the colored icons, it might be a little bit less noticeable, but I use the dark icons so you can kind of see the white border and on the folders and stuff like that. If you have like a more reflective background, the background's kind of dark right now. This is just the weather background. It's cloudy outside, so that's what you're seeing. That's what you're seeing, but if you have a brighter background, you do see the reflection a little bit more. You can create playlists with AI and Apple Music. Yeah, I checked that out. I do not know where that is. Maybe it's part of the stuff that's downloading for Apple Intelligence, but I did not see an option for it in Apple Music or in the playlist section. So I didn't see that yet. If somebody knows where it might be, let me know. Let me just check. I'm just going to look on X real quick. So yep, somebody here on X said iOS 26.4 beta 1 requires additional Apple Intelligence downloads. While it's not clear exactly what's new, there are a few additional resources required. And you can see some people have like a progress bar right here. I don't have the progress bar. I'm not getting the progress bar, so I'm not too sure that we can force close here and we can go back in. Yeah, still I'm not getting the progress bar on my end, but yeah, and then somebody else here on X also said interesting. My screen doesn't show a percentage; it just says downloading with no progress bar. No changes to Apple Health that we know of. Okay, so yes, there is a redesign to the Apple account page. And you can see this in music as well. These buttons are in the music account page with like the add funds and like the redeem code and send gift and all that kind of stuff. That is mirrored in the account page. So it goes from the bigger buttons right there to the smaller buttons over there. And then they have some other stuff over here. Here's a look. That is the Apple Music one right now. I'm just showing the ones on people have posted to X, so I don't have to show personal information on mine. But yeah, there's nothing. I'm not seeing anybody mention. I mean, I'm sure everybody installing this. I'm sure everybody installing this is checking for new Siri features first. And are the stock wallpaper available? I'm guessing you mean stock. All the stock, none of the wallpapers have changed. You just download the pack. Tried to download weather and astrology wallpaper and it fails each time. Not sure on that one because I already had those downloaded because I was already using them. I did download one of the other packs and it downloaded just fine. New playlist icon in the upper corner of library page. Okay, so I'm going to Apple Music, run library. So there's the new playlist. I don't have anything for an AI playlist. So maybe that's part of what's downloading for our Apple Intelligence stuff. So I'll have to wait for that, and we'll wait for the Apple Intelligence stuff to finish downloading and we can try it again, but I'm not seeing anything in here right now. Try turning on and off the Apple Intelligence thingy. A lot of people are saying it takes a while to it's taking a while to download. And with everybody updating at the same time to the beta, it is normal for it to do that. So And I don't know if turning it off deletes anything that it's downloaded and we just started it all over again or not, but um, I mean, I've had this take like a few hours before, depending on the servers and how big the download is. The wallpaper collection, if you go back to the beginning of the stream, I showed that a couple times already. If you're gonna spam the comments, you're gonna get blocked. I showed the wallpapers a couple times in the stream already, so just scroll back and check it out. Is the performance smoother for me? I wouldn't say it's smoother, but I wouldn't say it's worse. I would say it's about the same. I haven't really noticed any performance differences. And this iPhone was 100% charged when we started, and it's only down to 96%. And I did the full download and install on battery. Yes, you will see the old Siri icon when you're using Siri right now. If you still are downloading the Apple Intelligence stuff right here in settings, you will see the old Siri icon until that is done. So the ring for Siri is part of Apple Intelligence. So when Apple Intelligence is downloading resources, it's disabled and it turns that off as well. But if you guys want to see anything, no, it's not downloading the new Gemini. It's not in this update. It's even in the title of the video that it's not in this update. But that's all I'm seeing new. So I'm going to go ahead and end this here. If you guys want to scroll back and check out the rest of the stream, if you missed anything, you can go back to the beginning. And this stream will post a little bit later for anybody to check it out. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. And that way you don't miss any future updates. And if I find anything new, I will, of course, make a video on it as well. And once this is done downloading, if there's any major changes, I'll make a video going over it. But right now, it is the same Apple Intelligence stuff that we had before. There's nothing new or nothing changed. So thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and as always,